Hey guys, what's up? It's Thomas. Today we're back here with, well, how to be anime. And today, well, hope you're ready to take the test because we got the Hunter exam from Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, no, I didn't say it with X's, which apparently you don't pronounce. Who knew? Well, anyway, wish me luck because we're about to see how we can survive the exam. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Here we go.
If you had to go up against hundreds of psychotic killers in crazy death games, what would you do? You'll need to figure out how to survive and go against your opponent, your friends, and even your own mind. And the only way to win will be by using a harmless fishing rod, fighter pilot brain tactics, and stealing secrets that David Goggins himself uses in order to help us beat these death games and become more badass. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the Hunter exam of Hunter x Hunter. This doe-eyed kid is gonna go up against thousands of opponents and fight 405 of them in countless psychological and physical death games, all designed to break the human soul. Sounds like a great time. Anyways, Gon here is the son of an absent, missing father. Anyways, he wants to become the world's greatest hunter. Legendary heroes who risk their lives to seek treasures, monsters, and superstar fame, just like lots of people nowadays. So this kid wants to try out for this year's team. He wants to sign up and join, and he manages to catch this town's biggest and most dangerous fish in 20 years. Holy smokes, that's huge! Moving on, he secures a spot for the hunter tryout, making his caretaker Aunt Mito here nervous as hell because, well, she's hiding a dark secret. Yeah, I would think so with that face she's making. Anyway, she allows him to go, but decides to finally confess to him that his missing father didn't just run off to buy milk, but he's actually a hunter, and he's been too busy being a badass stud to come back to check on his family. Definitely a message you want to tell the kids at home. But Gon thinks that means being a hunter is the coolest job in the world, and leaves his Aunt Mito to become a hunter immediately. And he wonders what all the exams and trials will be like, but he has no idea that the test has already begun. Sailing through a crazy storm, he joins other potential hunter candidates, and all happen to get a case of seasickness. All except him and these other two guys, Kurapika and Leorio. Getting called into the captain's room, he asks them why they all want to become hunter badasses. Gon answers without a care in the world and says just wants to be like his super cool role model hunter father. Okay, so he gives his answers, but these other two don't answer and give the captain a hard time, pissing him off, and he warns them if they don't play by his rules, they're all gonna fail right now, which by the way has already started. So the captain tells them that thousands try out to be hunters each year, but most fail and die in over 7 billion ways, and I'm gonna reveal the math behind that in a little bit. This captain here and people like him screen out rookies who clearly aren't ready for the test, and then he lands another truth bomb on them. Everybody who got seasick has already been disqualified from the hunter tryout. So with so much on the line, Kurapika finally gives in and reveals why he is the last surviving member of the mysterious Kurta clan. He wants to brutally slaughter the gang responsible for the death of his people, the Phantom Troop, and the really nasty group of people that he's actually gonna face a whole lot sooner than he thinks. But Leorio here, he keeps it simple and says he's in it for the Benjamins because being a hunter is the most well-paying job out there. But then Kurapika takes exception to this and he starts arguing with Leorio about whose reason is better. But then suddenly a massive wave slams into the ship, screams in shock, fill the area, and this sailor nearly falls overboard, but Gon rushes to save him, and his kind heart forces these two to stop arguing and work together to help him and his dumb butt. And now the captain's been impressed by their skill and teamwork, and he tells them they've passed the first test and will be allowed to continue on their journey to become a hunter. Okay, I'm not sure if I should be thanking this guy or should maybe reconsider my decision, because there is no telling what to expect coming up within the next 3 phases. However, there is one fun little hack that I would use if I wasn't as slick or as cool as Gon. I would actually use this trick to increase my chances of winning every competition by an additional 900.75 million%. Or at least that's how amazing I think this hack is gonna be. Let me explain. Look, for starters, Gon here should have expected a ton of sneaky tricks like this from the get-go, because hunter tests happen every year, and each time they are full of different tricks, monsters, double crossings, and death games, wink. And even if they knew what to expect, we wouldn't know when they would happen. And this means just like that one friend of yours with a degree that he doesn't know how to use, knowledge is only useful to the degree that it can be drawn on when needed. However, there is one simple way that regular non-lucky people like us could have used if we were to go into this situation. Gon should have used something known as the ACE framework, which is a framework that American fighter pilots use to simplify, strategize, and figure out dynamic problems on the fly. And they can also be used for literally you need to assess the problem first. We know that the main thing we need to make through is these exams, which means we need to make good decisions more often than not, despite not knowing what to expect, which is a problem. So from knowing the problem to choosing a possible solution that would help us minimize the negative outcome. For example, we don't know when the test will show up, but we can minimize all of that potential problems, ifs, and maybes if we execute one thing. And this one thing would be by using common sense, logic, and by looking at the biggest clue of the hunter exam, their dropout rate. If we look at the Navy SEALs entrance exam, exam. The entrance exam costs about $350,000 to $500,000 to fund one single Navy SEAL just for them to join. But imagine how many people try and fail to join the SEALs within their first week alone, and how much the military would have to spend paying for everybody who joined the boot camp. The trick is, psych, they don't. Not with their 75 to 80% dropout rate. This hunter exam is no different. They only want to spend money and train the best who have potential, and will try to get out as many applicants as they can as early as possible, which means we need to be on our game because everything here is a test. So the cap.
Yeah, honestly, if I knew about the hunter exams and like how much like a success rate it would be, I would be like, okay, I gotta keep my mindset going. Like, okay, anything could be a test, so even if it isn't, just do your best you can and try to make sure that you're staying strong no matter what. Because remember, a lot of people try it since, Leorio said, highest paying job in the world, so you gotta plan out. Okay, what's the best way to go about this? And honestly, try to be nice, because frankly, if you piss someone off and they're part of the exams, you're screwed. So, yeah. Try not to be an asshole and just do what you can. Anyway, moving along. We just made it off the boat. Let's see what's next.
Captain drops them off at their next location, and the captain says to take this road towards the highest tree, and taking this mysterious path will help them arrive at the next exam faster. Not revealing at all, by the way, that this is still a test. But Leorio thinks it's a little suspicious, because according to the map, the tree here in the distance is the complete opposite way from where the exam should be. Ending up there anyway, they pass through this town and bump into this old lady who quizzes them before they continue their journey. Luckily, Karabika manages to figure out that this is a trick question, and the group barely manages to pass the test to the next round, getting way more lucky than others who have already died trying to reach this point in the exam. So they head to the real location of the exam site, and they encounter this cute little cabin in a nice open green area, but it's really anything but, because they spot this injured guy. He tells him that his wife has just been kidnapped by bloodthirsty monsters. He sets them off on another wild goose chase to go rescue her, until they find out that this was another test. These people are actually hunter navigators. They tell them they passed the final mini test and will take them to the actual location of the first test. Anyways, they drop them off at this restaurant, which is actually a secret hunter location, and they take the secret lift deep underground to floor 100. And on the way down, Karabika cautiously warns them about the hunter survival stats that is gonna make them all poop their pants. Only one rookie every 3 years makes it through, and most break down from all sorts of traumatic horrors, even if they survive. Arriving in this dark tunnel, hundreds of other applicants are all about to be put through hell. And then you got this weird guy named Tompa, who hands them a number to wear on their chest and tells them this is his 35th attempt for the hunter tryouts, which shocks the whole group here. But in doing so, it makes them miss this guy's biggest red flags. He warns them of some of the players they're gonna go up against, and points them all out. Master killers, expert psychos, olden goldies, all dying to join the most lethal hunting force in the world. And there's a whole bunch of them. You got Toto the wrestler, Bourbon the snake charmer, Fedoro the martial arts master, you got the three brothers, and you got this one, Fedora lady. I don't remember her name, she's not that important. But then suddenly they hear the piercing screams of this one guy getting killed, and he disappears off the face of the earth. And then they spot the most badass opponent of all, Hisoka, the magician. He was supposed to become a hunter last year, but he nearly killed the hunter examiner because the examiner pissed the guy off. Tompa warns them that they would let Sane himself join the hunters if he was good enough, and he tells them they need to stay away from people like him. Problem, he put laxatives inside of them. He hopes to make them poop their brains out so bad they fail the test. But Gon's freaking super sensitive taste buds warn him that it has expired and stops the others from drinking as well. And the nervous Tompa quickly apologizes and then leaves to plot his next move when they least expect it. But then he comes across one of this group's most lethal applicants. This kid, number 99, Kilua. He comes back smiling, asking for one more pooper soda. All because he's been trained to handle all types of poison. Anyways, he smacks at Tompa and says that he's the coldest killer of all of them. But that's when a hunter examiner with the coolest mustache in anime appears, and Examiner Satos. And he gives them a rundown of what's about to happen. The first phase of the official Hunter Games is about to begin. Only one.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised with no mouth on that one. Does it wear a mask or something? I don't know, I'm curious about that mask. And also, yeah, I'd probably be a little worried since I don't know any of these guys, so I'd probably be keeping my hands in my pocket and not accepting anything unless I know it's safe. You know? I don't think I'm gonna accept the soda, just... Nah, I'm good. Thanks. Well, anyway, time for the first phase of the official exam. Here we go.
and 10,000 people have made it here so far, with 404 applicants remaining. He starts walking and everybody follows him and casually says they're headed to location of the second phase of the exam, and they think he misspoke, but then he starts picking up the pace and he reveals that, well, they've already begun the first phase, the battle of endurance. Here's the rules. One, they gotta follow him, and also they don't know how long. Well, you know, this next challenge seems simple enough. I would actually rely on two really simple, great, world-class mental techniques that would help us guarantee that we win this thing. With one being highly toxic and not recommended for the general public. Let me explain. The next challenge is called a ruck march, commonly used in the military for its physical and psychological team-building benefits. But mentally, that is the purpose of this phase of the exam. As Mike Tyson once said, the mind makes the fighter so much better than he actually is. And it makes super a lot of sense, because just like on the ship, it's clear they want warriors of the mind. And we could have known this in advance if we had analyzed the United States SEAL ethos. I know, I'm in a real SEAL mood today. But the cool and the point of it, it actually contains clues as to what we need to win this competition. Because if you look closely, you'll see a theme here. Perseverance, thrive on adversity, never give up, discipline, and attention to detail. This is what the Hunter exams want from us. It means everything else is a distraction. Well, it might seem intimidating to compete if we're just regular people. There is something that you could do that would give you an edge. Look, not being told when the exam will end has already got our brain trying to figure out the problem, whether we want to or not. This is going to make our mind drain its energy faster, and on top of this, performing mentally demanding tasks in general makes you tired. It makes you lose motivation. You just want to lie down and cry. Maybe just me. Which is why if I had to do this thing, I would use two very simple mental model techniques that anybody can easily use in order to become a David Goggins machine. Number one, I would make the goal of becoming a hunter almost religious. Really dive deep into my feels, you know, to help build the epicness of the goal in my head, because it's going to give more meaning to me to help me achieve my goal. Like, for example, I will cure cancer if I achieve this. That's how epic I need to trick my mind into thinking this goal of ours is. Number two, the second technique that is super toxic, by the way, and one that you should only use in very small amounts, I'm very serious, is by relying on toxicity over the goal of winning this competition itself in order to mentally never give up. These four things, for example, passion, purpose, joy, fulfillment, are less likely to keep me motivated to achieve my goal during high times of stress, which is why we need to dig deep within ourselves and rely on something really palpable, something that you can hold on to, something evil and possibly toxic. Actually, something very similar to the beast himself, David Goggins actually uses, and how he does it is by essentially reverse psychologying ourselves in the most harmful way possible. Remember, this is only going to be used for short term when it really counts, by reframing our goals to focus more on the negative over the positive. In this case, we don't want to become a hunter. We want to fear not ending up like a loser who might as well kick a bucket. The only way for this to not happen is to become a hunter. Using these two mental methods can be the simplest and fastest way that anybody can get the iron will to never give in anime or in real life. Hours pass.
Yeah, true. I'd probably just be thinking, okay, just keep it going. Like, as long as you don't stop and keep yourself going, you'll be fine. Also, I probably would aim for, like, keeping, like, one of, like, the major headouts. Like, probably either the ninja or at least my buddy Gon. Like, if I keep up with him, I'm probably gonna be okay. But still, I'm not gonna pass, but at least see how far I can go, you know? After all, gotta prove yourself. So, to play smart, not hard, you got it. But in this case, I guess you gotta do both. So anyway, pace yourself, find a leader you can follow. Moving on.
By 80 kilometers deep, and people start dropping like flies. But thankfully, Gon makes a new friend with Killua, and he finds out he wanted to become a hunter because he's bored, not revealing the true reason. Oh, and Leorio finds his inner strength by taking off his shirt. Moving on, a little later, the main heroes and the remaining applicants each reach phase 2 of the hunter exam, and the losers get their dreams crushed forever. And Sato's welcomes them to their next location, the Misley Wetlands.
Amazing.
And he takes note who is left. 36 examinees down, 368 more to go. The next location's dangers are announced. Bloodthirsty animals known for tricking their prey, humans, into becoming dinner. And Satots warns them that they must stay behind him as they continue the journey and must not fall for any traps just because there's a lot of them. And also this, they require brains as well as bronze in order to survive. This contestant comes out of nowhere and warns everyone that Satots here is not the real examiner. He's actually a flesh-eating monster in disguise, pulling out this monkey that looks just like him. The group begins to argue about who to trust, but Hisoka decides to test the powers of both of them and kills the imposter who isn't skilled enough to block his attack, revealing Satos to be the real examiner, proving in a very lethal stealth away who the real top candidate is and the most dangerous one. Sato's then uses this moment to teach everyone a lesson. If they get lost or injured, no one will be able to reach, help, or save them. And everyone looks at the thick fog around this swamp. This part of the phase is brutal, separating the men from the boys. That's right. Some boys are just gonna hold out much better than some men here. Unlike some of these badasses, most of us are just weebs like us. And this means we know what horrors we're about to face. I would first take into account our weapons. And what do we got? Using his fishing rod, I would use some of the line off of it and use it to wrap around the hands of the group as a sort of a safety line. I know what you're thinking. By tying a safety line around everyone's waist, it would actually be kind of risky. What if something comes at us and we need to separate? I understand, but you know, this is a risk-reward type of assessment. And on average, most fishing poles have at least 125 yards of line, which means we'll still have plenty to do all sorts of cool attacks with it if we need to. You know, grab stuff, lasso people, swing around Spider-Man style, take somebody's eye out. Because while the swamp is a big threat, it's not actually the biggest one here. Because just like Lady Eboshi and Princess Mononoke, I'm more worried about the humans around me. Sato's just told us to stay behind him, but knowing all these tests are designed to get rid of the weak, don't you think it's logical to assume that those who sift through all of this mess are actually going to be super dangerous, cutthroat, strong people? Which means if we keep up with them, we're going to be really close to these scary killers who are way more dangerous than anything here. That is why before setting off, I would look for the man that we met earlier, Tonpa. Well, yes, he is definitely a sleazeball. He is our sleazeball. I'm kidding. But he is a veteran test taker and in the beginning proved to us how much he knew about everybody. Bringing him along would allow us to get in real-time data who was all near us while we follow close behind Sato's. For close to the instructor, we can use Tonpa to our advantage. Because if he did, one of us or all of us could immediately punch him in his big fat mouth. That being said, while this test might seem doable, this group right here is soon going to realize that just like the first test, the boat, nothing is as it seems. Okay, so the gang sets off, but the group begins to immediately split apart. It's amazing how quickly it happens. Leorio and Kurapika follow behind from Gon and Killua, and they stay put for now, since there are too many people ahead of them. Low visibility problems start to quickly swallow up even the toughest candidates. And just then, the heads of these people in front of these two start disappearing. And then suddenly, their next flesh-eating opponent reveals its ugly head and starts going off on everybody around them, eating tons of Japanese men harder than a jab production. Dozens of applicants around start getting royally screwed by what Mother Nature has to offer. Even birds impersonating Sato's voice. More and more people quickly get sent in the wrong direction into their doom. And the whole group gets quickly isolated. Running for their lives, Leorio and Kurapika haul butt and run into the one thing worse than Mother Nature herself, Hisoka, killing all of these guys with a freaking pencil. Just like John Wick. I'm kidding, I had to say it. He actually killed him with a magic card. But that's when he spots his next target, and Kurapika warns Leorio that this guy is way too powerful for them and convinces him to run. But Leorio is more a cool guy than smart guy and swings around, thinking his ego can help him beat Hisoka. He quickly gets destroyed when Gon finally shows up, separated from the main group, and quickly distracts Hisoka with his fishing rod. And that was his biggest success. Hisoka notices that Gon actually manages to surprise him, and Leorio tries to help out, and the two tag team, but quickly get defeated in minutes. Coming up and choking Gon, he suspiciously lets him go at the last minute, revealing that he can sense future potential in him, and Leorio as well, and tells him that he passed his test. And then he gets notified that the survivors are reaching the next phase. Picking up Leorio, now unconscious, he tells Gon that he'll see him at the next phase, leaving Gon more shocked than thankful that he survived another day. He meets up with the lost Kurapika, as Gon's group, unlike most, officially make it to the second phase of the Hunter exam. That makes 220 down with only 148 more to go. And they reach their next phase at the Visca Forest Preserve. And here they meet their next Hunter examiners, Menchi and Buhara. They're gourmet hunters. Gourmet hunters are warriors that specialize in gathering high-level ingredients and cook Gordon Ramsay quality style meats. And they give everyone their next test. It's not what you think. It involves pigs and cooking. Well, the contestants laugh in disbelief at the assignment, and they think this task is going to be easy, and they're stupid. They head off, and sure enough, they find the pigs devouring a plate of human bones. So they run for their sweet lives, and these wannabe hot dogs brutally crush dozens of contestants with their super strong, cute noses, using them as shields to block any attack. In the middle of the chaos, Gon quickly spots some apples knocking out a pig, and realizes that its forehead is its weakness. And after that, everybody sees what Gon just figured out, and sure enough, everybody brings back some pigs and begin cooking. But this gourmet hunter chef is a real hard ass, thinks they all suck at cooking, and fills everybody on the spot. Watching them from the distance, Sato's calls up the hunter exam chairman and alerts him that Menchi here is back to her old crazy ways again. Chairman Netero then comes down to sort this problem out and tells her that they need to pass some of these applicants or else the entire hunter arc and this video will end right here. She apologizes and offers to give them all another test, and will also join them to prove herself. And now up next, their new test is gonna be over here, up at Split Mountain. They gotta capture the egg of the spider eagle, aka dream eggs, down in the canyon, floating 10,000 feet above the ground, and on top of that, they gotta deal with horrifying winds. Menchi shows them how it's done, but she proves her hunter skills and grabs an egg right before she catches some canyon wind and flies back up and lands safely. But a few chosen do jump down and try to copy her, and they hang for their lives, and this one guy jumps down and grabs grabs an egg first, but then ends up falling to his death. Confused, Gon and Killua spot the critical mistake and warn everybody else that they gotta wait for the canyon wind to blow in their direction, then they can jump down. Waiting for the signal, Gon takes charge and uses his sensitive nose to detect an incoming wind like a freaking bloodhound. And that's when the spider rope begins breaking, and everybody realizes that it can't hold them for long. And now all eyes are on Gon for the signal before it's too late. The impatient ones start jumping out early, but a few ballsy ones wait for Gon, wondering if this kid will be the death of them. Hate to say it, this group might seem like badasses, but they're actually really stupid. They could have passed this exam way less risky, stress-free, and easier. First off, don't jump straight to your death, because this was their opportunity to learn from others' mistakes. Like the first guy, by waiting for others to jump, they could have gained valuable insight on what to expect down there by watching other rookies test it out first. You know, you ever tried jumping into a small pool with your friends all at the same time? It's a nightmare and everybody bumps into each other. And the same risks could have been applied here, except by bumping into each other, it would have meant certain death, or at the very least missing a shot of grabbing an egg. By waiting, we would have avoided the big crowded bum rush all at the same time, and also could have just walked up to the ledge first to see where the eggs were, and then jumped in closer proximity to the egg. Because remember, none of these tests are what they seem. They were never given a timer to complete this test, which means we didn't have to rush like idiots. It gives them...
Yeah, that's a point. Like, I think I'm gonna just timed out, like, wait for the wind gust and, like, Honestly, I think I would have jumped with Gon since, you know, I trust him, but I don't know if I trust my own grip strength. But with what she said, she was definitely able to time out the wind gust, so, definitely interesting. But anywho, back to it.
The signal to drop, and they catch the remaining few eggs and fly back out, passing the next test and take a victory bite out of their eggs. Unaware that, like Justin King's game, the upcoming tests are gonna get more impossible. That makes 362 down, 42 more to go. With no time to waste, everybody heads off into this balloon to the third and final phase of the exam, led by the boss man himself, Chairman Netero. He tells them that they can rest till morning when they reach the next location. Gon and Killua rush off to explore the ship, while Kurapika and Leorio hear some more sweet lies from Tompa. He warns them that the third phase might already be happening, that this is all a test, and he urges these two to stay on alert the whole night just in case, secretly trying to make them drain their energy before tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Hunter examinees discuss who they think has the most potential to win the Hunter competition, and they voice their concerns about the group's biggest wildcard, Hisoka, because his love for death and blood is like nothing that any of them have ever seen. Menchi here mentions his evil energy was creeping her out during the cooking test, and this made her irrational about her test in the first place, and they agree to keep a closer watch on him from now on. Elsewhere, Chairman Netero runs into Gon and Killua, but can sense that Killua doesn't trust him, and he offers to play a game with the boys. If they win, he'll make them both official hunters immediately, so the game is ball tag. If the two boys can steal the ball from his legendary hand, they win. Killua warns the old man that he comes from a family of assassins, and he shows off some moves from mom and dad before attempting to steal. But sure enough, every time he gets outsmarted, and Gon subs in to help, but also gets defeated. However, Chairman Netero notices their great potential. A little later on another part of the ship, Tompa checks in on Leorio and Kurapika, but sees them sleeping like babies, pissing him off that his plan has failed, but he doesn't know that his time to shine is soon gonna come. Alright, so everybody reaches the next site of the third phase. Their next challenge: reach the base of this tower alive within the time limit. This one cocky applicant then mentions that he used to be a rock climber, and he quickly scales down the building, but then they hear a siren call of something really scary getting close. Airborne killers fly past the man, hungry for his blood, and they rip him to pieces and devour him whole. A little later, Kurapika notices almost half of all the other applicants have disappeared from the top. Everyone then notices 5 hidden trap doors and assume that the other applicants have found more doors like them, but each one can only be opened once, and it can only fit one person in each. So they each agree to take one, but all land in the same room anyways, and then spot some rules on the wall, stating that 5 people who enter this room must cooperate in order to escape. There are several ways to clear the tower, but each way can only be taken if the majority agrees on a decision. Given these timers, they realize they don't have much time left. Needing a 5th person to show up, they wait. And sure enough, somebody drops in. The lovable loser, Tompa. Getting ready, the game gives them a preview of how to play. Everybody must agree on a shape and click the same one on their watches. Everybody except Tompa clicks on one shape, and Leorio gets pissed off, but Tompa assures him that it was just a harmless mistake, and next time he won't cost them the real game. They head to the next room for the next task and ask them which direction they want to go. Half the group picks both options, and Kurapika tells them that according to science, praxicology, people tend to unconsciously go left when they're feeling lost, which means they might have a better chance of winning if they go right. Following Kurapika's suggestion, they run into this massive atrium with these really creepy prisoners, and the tower warden then announces on the loudspeaker that these These are the prisoners of the tower, and they've been hired by the Hunter Exam Committee to test their skills. Here's the rules. They must each fight all of the prisoners one-on-one, and each person can only battle once. Victories win an opponent and miss defeat, and they can pick which order they fight in. The team with majority of rounds won wins. But here's the deal. For every hour a prisoner keeps Gon's team inside the arena, 1 year will be reduced from their sentence. So they ain't gonna go easy on them. They have 72 hours till they have to escape. This prisoner steps up as their first opponent, ready to do whatever it takes. But Tompo suspiciously offers to fight first, just to test out the waters. Entering, the prisoner states that this is a death match, and Tompo agrees to the terms, then cue the badass music. Bald guy charges at Tompo, ready to kill just as Tompo gives up before the fight even begins. Everybody, including the bad guy, looks in confusion. Admitting defeat, the prisoners win the first round, and Leroy gets really mad, but Tompo finally reveals who he is. He's not here to pass the hunter exam. He's here to mess with others and ruin their dreams of becoming hunters. And now he's developed some sort of psychological getting off on it. So he's a freak. Leroy loses his shit, and the others try to calm him down because they still need to work together and take on the next opponent. Sudokan, given a 149-year sentence, and he's a serial bomber, and Gon offers to take him on next. The skinny prisoner offers to play a game based purely on luck. Each one will choose 2 candles, and whoever candles burns out first loses. Pretty simple. Unable to tell which one to pick, the group lets Gon decide, and he goes for the longer one. They light up their candles, and the game begins. A strong draft of wind suddenly rushes past them, and now they must concentrate and not move an inch. And just then, Gon's candle starts bursting in flames, melting faster by the second. The prisoner reveals he prepared 4 candles and tampered with all of them, so he would have lost anyways. Thinking fast, Gon realizes his candle flame is burning too fast to go out. Using this opportunity, he puts his candle down and rushes over to his opponent, blowing his candle out and cleverly wins the game. Next up, this guy, given a 100-year sentence, multiple crimes, including fraud and blackmail, and he fights against Kurapika, showing his tattoos representing the people he's killed. And he warns him that Kurapika is going to be his 20th victim. The game, it's a deathmatch. Blood, guts, and pain. How fun. The rules until one of them dies or gives up. No weapons, just fists. But Kurapika sees a tattoo on his back, and it's a very special tattoo. A 12-legged spider. This guy belongs to the Phantom Troop, and Kurapika sees this, and boy, he freaks out. His eyes turn blood red, and he rushes him, grabbing him, and gives him the beatdown of his life. And he tells him that he knows that tattoo of his mortal enemy is fake, because it lacks a serial number. And he says if he ever says their name again, he will kill him. Assuming he won, eyes have now gone back to normal, and he gets a little nervous and tells his friends that when he saw the spider, he lost control. And this, by the way, includes seeing real spiders. His personality shifts into something horrifying, and everybody freaks out, including the Oreo. Meanwhile, Hisoka passes the Trick Tower's 3rd phase in 6 hours and 7 minutes. With 1 more win left to go, this mysterious prisoner walks forward, but tells Gon's group some upsetting news. She announces that Kurapika's fight isn't over because his opponent isn't dead, but is just passed out. Since it was a death match and no one gave up, this round isn't over. Ashamed of his rage earlier, Kurapika this time refuses to kill him, which means they gotta wait until his opponent wakes up. The group votes on it, but majority votes to wait, pissing Leroy off and breaking the group dynamic, now realizing that this was a part of all of their slimy plan. A little while later, after waiting, Gon suggests something that, if it's true, would be insanely sneaky. He suspects that Kurapika's opponent died a long time ago, forcing Leroy to ask the prisoners if they can go look for themselves. But the mysterious prisoner offers them a gamble with her on whether or not this guy is alive. Suspiciously ready, she rattles off the rules as Leroy and her get locked into a match. The rules: they will bet each time, but can only use 10 hours as a bet each time they gamble, and must keep betting until one of them runs out of time. If Leroy loses this battle, his whole team will have 50 hours less time to escape the tower. If the prisoners lose, they will serve another 50 years of jail. Kurapika warns Leroy if they lose, they will have less than 9 hours to escape this tower. Leroy then accepts the match and bets 10 hours, going up and finding out that this guy is in fact still alive, causing this group to instantly lose 10 hours. Next up, Killua thinks the prisoners are secretly keeping this guy alive but unconscious. Leroy bets next if this guy is really passed out or not, but this girl pulls a fast one and bets 20 years against Leroy's guess. However, in order to check if he's really playing dead, Leroy comes up with an idea, carrying him to the edge and threatening to drop him. The fear of dying surprisingly causes the guy to stop pretending and runs away, making Leroy win this bet, and he tells the girl that he could tell this prisoner was alive based on the movement of his eyes, because he actually wants to be a doctor. Long story, not important. So he thinks, I'm doing pretty good right now, I'm a smart cookie, I'm gonna win this thing for my team. This prisoner's cuffs and clothes finally come off. Larute. Leroy gets too excited by what he sees, and she then tells him that if he wants to bet, she's a man or a woman, and to prove if he's right or wrong, she'll allow him to examine her TSA style, as in however he likes, and he immediately bets 10 hours that she's a man, like a pervert. Kurapika and Killua agree, by the way, just so you know. He goes to confirm it and makes him excited that for once he lost the bet. Watching Tompa tells Gon's team that Leroy will lose. His opponent already saw through how he bets based on his way of answering questions. She knows he places and chooses his bets based on whichever one has the least damage, and was caught asking her the outcome of losing too much, making his desire to not lose much greater than his desire to win, and that mindset will never win him anything. Okay, so we have a problem, and we have to rely on a hoarding idiot to do it. Great! Fortunately, this is actually really simple to fix, and it would increase Leorio's chances of winning by not doing nothing. I know, isn't that great? I love doing nothing. Let me explain. I love Leorio, but right now he's not playing to win. While this may seem like a small, silly thing, it's really not, because the psychological difference in your mind is huge. Playing to win is choosing to dream big instead of preparing for the worst thing, but it doesn't mean that you're ignorant to the worst case either, because coming from a positive outlook will affect yours and Leorio's actions right now in this moment. And it makes sense, because in the moment, the past and the future don't apply. They don't matter. All that matters is your relentless action in the moment, what you do now. And coming from a place of not wanting to lose will 100% negatively affect your actions in the moment because of this. Let me show you how this works. A study was done in Princeton undergrads. Two groups of students were given the same test with the same questions, but under different contexts. One was presented as being used to see if they truly belonged at Princeton University under a threat context. The other was made to seem like a challenging questionnaire under a challenge context. And the questions were made to seem like brain teasers. The shocking result showed the students operating under a threat context got only 72% of the questions right, while students operating from a challenging context got more than 90% right. Damn. Same questions, different perspectives. When you play to win, aggressiveness, proactiveness, and not out of fear, you understand mistakes will be made and it's a part of the process. But when you're playing to lose, reckless and reactive, you get scared to make a mistake and you're not willing to take risks. Now, Leorio here may not or may be able to win by choosing to focus on relying on a more positive, realistic, and confident angle that will help him operate in the moment more effectively and to the best of his abilities, while not letting his own emotions in the moment destroy any chance he has of succeeding in the future, which is a skill, you know, we could all learn more a little bit about. Leorio plays right into his opponent's hand. Looking at the clock, he now has 10 hours left. Shit. If he loses this, the group will be defeated and will lose 50 hours. Gon then suggests a final game of rock, paper, scissors. Since Leorio has experience in this, and that's when the prisoner suddenly bets a whopping 80 hours that she will win the first rock, paper, scissors round, which confuses him, and he realizes that even if he loses, he'll still only lose 10 hours and wonders why she is betting such a higher number, causing him to get nervous and confused as to what move to make. Watching this, Kurapika fills in the group on Leorio's odds of winning, telling him that you have a 1 in 3 chance of losing, but if your opponent manages to control your thoughts, the chances of losing increase dramatically. And like magic, it's like she hears Kurapika and she messes with Leorio more and more and states that she can read minds. Leorio doesn't buy it and says she could have won already if that were true, but she tells him that maybe she let him win. After all, buying much time is a method to win. Too much confusion, she suddenly plays her hand, forcing Leorio to play as well, and they both play rock. Kurapika tells Gon what happened is horrible. When someone is nervous, they subconsciously avoid making moves with their palms open. It means that as long as Leorio is nervous, he will never play paper, and playing rock with rock will result in a draw. She wants him to play rock or paper, which does what? Buying time, and also could let her win. And just like that, Dawn's team loses 100 to nothing. Oh, that hurts. 2 wins, 2 defeats, and now they got subtracted 50 hours. Ouch. And they now have less than 10 hours left. The final opponent approaches the ring, but he's not just any bad guy. Leorio recognizes him and warns the others. He's brutally murdered men, women, and even children, which means, according to anime villain logic, he's the shit. Johannes the Dissector. This guy tells Killua that he's about to rip him to shreds, and he doesn't care about being released and just gets super happy about consuming the souls of innocents and drinking their blood and blah blah blah. But Killua says, cool, and blasts a hole right through his chest. And Killua is holding this poor douchebag's heart right in front of him and wins the match without breaking a sweat. He reveals to the group that my daddy's way more cool. It makes Gon secretly realize that maybe everybody powerful as balls has a father complex deep down. Now, with this death match over, the game then instructs them to head into this room and wait to spend the 50 hours that they just lost. Meanwhile, Daddy Hisoka breezes through to the end of the third phase and becomes the first winner. Great, with others lagging behind. As time passes, 5 hours later, the group busts out, kicking and screaming and running like a madman, taking all sorts of crazy roads. They come across a final door, saying that all 5 can go through this longer, much harder path, or 3 of them can take the shorter, easier one. The game urges them to fight to the death and decide, but Gon comes up with an idea. Opening up the door with the longer path, he instructs the group to break down the wall leading to the shorter one, making his gang even Top arrive just in time to finish the third phase of the Hunter x Hunter exam. With 25 finalists left, the group walks out with pride, not knowing which friends today might be their enemies tomorrow, and they get ready for the next, even more horrifying Hunter test that is headed their way. But what do you guys think about?
I think this is actually the farthest Tompa's ever been through. At least I think. I don't know. Hard to say. But hey, they're done pretty well so far. 3 phases down, and I think if memory serves, 2 left. There's the... I know there was like the hunting game coming up where they gotta steal like a number. And then there's the one-on-one fights to determine who become the hunters. At least that's what I remember. But, not sure if we'll cover that, but we'll see. Till then, thanks for watching, everybody. Laters.